I think a lot of us have familiarity, whether we were playing on junior national teams together or whether we played a great job at the junior national team levels, of really getting you kind of involved in the program and understanding what USA basketball is about. But also, like, we're all very competitive and you want to be surrounded by the best at the same time. And I think that's kind of the feeling all around for all of us.
Caitlin Clark just dropped a bomb that's about to flip the entire WNBA upside down. Here's exactly what went down. Caitlin Clark stepped up to the microphone at USA basketball camp today and publicly called out the WNBPA union for sabotaging the 2026 WNBA season. She didn't stutter. She said, "Stop playing games. We need to play basketball, period." She was at USA basketball camp in North Carolina, surrounded by other WNBA stars, and instead of staying quiet like everyone expected, she spoke her truth. She said, "This is the biggest moment in WNBA history, and y'all are about to mess it up." She called for compromise, a 3-year CBA deal instead of dragging this out. And now let me break down why this is so messy. The WNBPA board members negotiating for players are out here cutting deals with competing leagues. Nneka Ogwumike, Brianna Stewart, Nafisa Collier. These are the co-founders of Unrivaled, that 3-on-3 league competing with the WNBA. You're telling me the people who own a rival league are dragging their feet on a deal that could save the WNBA season? That's not a conflict of interest. That's a hostile takeover. Every week the WNBA season gets pushed back is another week their 3-on-3 league gets free publicity. But if there's chaos, suddenly Unrivaled becomes the only show in town, fresh off her injury, barely back to full speed, and Caitlin Clark decides she's done with the circus. She steps up to that microphone at USA basketball camp and drops a truth bomb. She said, "This is the biggest moment the WNBA has ever seen, and it's not something that can be messed up. We're going to fight for everything we deserve, but at the same time, we need to play basketball. That's what our fans crave." Let me translate. Caitlin Clark just said she's not interested in these side league games. She wants WNBA basketball, the real thing, and she wants it now. And everyone else better figure out how to make that happen before they destroy everything. She kept rolling. "The way you make money is by playing games. That's how you build your market. That's what fans want to see. The product on the floor, not exhibitions, not off-season tournaments." Then she dropped the compromise. "We can compromise on some things. Maybe not a 5-year deal. Do a 3-year CBA, get back to the table sooner, and renegotiate after we've actually grown the league. But we need to play." That's leadership. That's someone who understands you can't negotiate for a bigger slice if you're burning down the whole bakery. The WNBA just had its best season ever, ratings through the roof, attendance records shattered, a $2.2 billion TV deal, and now the union wants to gamble all that momentum. The league's putting real money on revenue sharing that could push max deals higher. Yearly increases tied to league growth. But the WNBPA says it's not enough. They claim revenue sharing only gives players 10 to 15%. They're upset about housing subsidies. They're worried about training camps starting in March. Hold on. You want to cancel the season over housing subsidies while you're signing contracts with leagues that don't even provide housing? While you're playing 3-on-3 in gyms with 500 people watching? Caitlin Clark sees through it. She averaged over 17,000 fans per game. She's the reason ESPN talks about the WNBA in prime time. She's why expansion teams sell for $250 million. And she's telling the union, "I'll pack the seats again. I'll bring the money again." But the WNBPA board members with competing league interests don't want a fast resolution. Every month without WNBA, basketball is another month their 3-on-3 league gets attention. If the WNBA tips off on schedule, who's watching 3-on-3? Nobody. But if there's no WNBA season, suddenly Unrivaled is the only place to see stars play. That's not negotiation, that's sabotage. Caitlin Clark just called it out. She didn't name names, but she made it crystal clear that some people at that table don't have the league's best interests at heart. Social media exploded. Everyone's been waiting for CC to weigh in. She basically declared WNBA or nothing. Because their biggest star just publicly said we need to compromise and get on the floor, Caitlin Clark gets something the union doesn't. You can't bully your way to respect. You earn it by delivering the product. You earn it by being so undeniable the market has no choice but to pay what you're worth. This is the inflection point. Either the league capitalizes on unprecedented momentum or shoots itself in the foot. The WNBA's offer isn't perfect. But you know what's worse? No season at all. She's thinking about the legends who built this league. She's thinking about fans who finally started paying attention. She's thinking long-term. Meanwhile, the WNBPA board is thinking about their 3-on-3 league and their side deals. The chess move is obvious. Play the season, dominate. Come back in 3 years with even more leverage. You want a better deal? Make the next 3 years so successful the league has no choice but to double salaries. That's what Caitlin Clark is saying. I'll sell out arenas, I'll deliver ratings, I'll make sure everyone eats. But we actually have to play for that to happen. Let's be honest. Caitlin Clark doesn't need the WNBA as much as the WNBA needs her. She could go overseas and make more money. She could do endorsements and never touch a basketball again. But she wants to play in the WNBA. That's loyalty. Most WNBA players aren't Caitlin Clark. They need the WNBA way more than it needs them. If there's no season, most players lose their primary income. Caitlin Clark knows that. She's advocating for players without the platform or leverage. But WNBPA leadership, they're insulated. They have unrivaled money. They have endorsements. They'll survive if the season gets delayed. Meanwhile, bench players are sitting home wondering if they'll have a paycheck. That's why her comments hit different. She's exposing the gap between union leadership and actual player interests. The league offered yearly pay increases based on growth. That's literally what players asked for. But the union says not enough. Caitlin Clark is done with that. January 9th is coming fast. If there's no deal, training camp is in danger. The season is in danger. Everything they built is at risk. She offered a solution. Do a 3-year CBA instead of 5. That way, if the league keeps growing, players can renegotiate sooner and get an even better deal. That's pragmatic. The player with the most leverage is the one willing to compromise. The players with competing financial interests are holding everything hostage. She said, "The most important thing is we need to play basketball. That's what our fans crave." Emphasis on fans, because if fans stop caring, none of this matters. You can negotiate the best CBA in the world, but without an audience, there's no money. Right now, the WNBA has a massive, engaged, growing audience. But audiences are fickle. Make them wait too long, disappoint them with a canceled season, and they move on. Let's talk about what happens if there's no 2026 season. Expansion teams that paid $250 million sitting on dead assets. TV networks with a $2.2 billion deal staring at empty slots. Sponsors pulling out. Momentum dies. The casual fans who tuned in because of Caitlin Clark? Gone. The media coverage? Gone. The buzz that women's basketball was finally breaking through? Gone, all gone. Caitlin Clark is the only person who seems to get it. She's not thinking about the next negotiation. She's thinking about the next decade. The WNBPA is thinking about winning the battle. Caitlin Clark is thinking about winning the war. She's putting the union in an impossible position. If they keep dragging this out after their biggest star publicly called for compromise, they look unreasonable. If they fold and take a deal, they have to explain why CC intervention changed their mind. Either way, they've lost the narrative. That's what happens when you have genuine star power. Caitlin Clark doesn't need to play politics. She just says what's obvious and everyone listens. If the WNBPA doesn't get a deal done by January 9th, Caitlin Clark just gave the league all the cover they need. The league now has a quote from their biggest star saying, "We need to play basketball." They can blast that everywhere. The face of the league says we should play and the union says we shouldn't. Who do you think fans will side with? The WNBPA just lost the PR war. The union isn't acting in the best interest of players. They're acting in the best interest of union leadership. There's a difference. Players want to play. Players want to get paid. Players want to build on last year's momentum. Union leadership wants to prove a point, flex their leverage, and maybe boost their side hustles. Caitlin Clark just exposed all of that. She didn't have to name names. She just spoke simple truth, and everyone knows exactly who she's talking about. She didn't just make a statement, she forced everyone's hand. She accelerated the timeline. She made it impossible to keep playing these games. The WNBA just witnessed a changing of the guard. The old guard wants to drag out negotiations. The new guard wants to play basketball and build the future. And the new guard just won. She's done being quiet. She's done letting other people speak for her. And what she's saying is simple. Stop playing games. We need to play basketball. The fans deserve it. The league deserves it. Anyone standing in the way needs to move. That's your reality check. The WNBA's biggest moment is here, and the league's biggest star just told everyone to stop screwing it up. Drop a comment and let me know. Is Caitlin Clark right to call out the union? Or should players hold the line no matter what? Because this debate is just getting started.